Part 1. The Call of Waiting. What if the weight of waiting in your soul is an invitation to a mystery far greater than you can yet perceive? A shadow beckoning you into its depths. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself in a room cloaked in shadows, where the only light comes from a single candle, its flame flickering like a hesitant heartbeat. The scent of sandalwood incense rises in spirals, like mist creeping through a forgotten forest. You sit in silence, the world outside muted, and whisper to the universe, "Give me a sign." Any sign. But silence answers with deeper silence, and the void grows, swallowing hope like an abyss. This is the call of waiting. Not a fleeting moment, but a living shadow that dances in your soul, testing your faith, challenging your patience. In dark spirituality, this darkness is not your enemy. It is the gateway to true spiritual motivation, an invitation to dive into the depths of yourself. I know this shadow. There was a time when despair weighed on my chest like an anchor, heavy and unyielding. Each morning I lit a single stick of incense, its smoke rising like unanswered prayers. I closed my eyes, practiced mindfulness, tried to anchor myself in the present, to offer kindness to a world that seemed indifferent. But nothing changed. The job offered no promotion, relationships failed to bloom. Inner peace remained a distant horizon. The weight in my chest wasn't physical pain, but something far crueler. The agony of waiting for a breakthrough that never came. It was like standing at the edge of a vast desert, beneath a starless sky, clutching seeds I had planted in dry sand, begging for rain the universe seemed to withhold. Night after night I asked myself, what am I doing wrong? Why does the universe ignore me? That question echoed like a cold wind in a forgotten cave, unanswered, only reverberating. The mind, hungry for resolution, became a restless beast, gnawing at its own hope. We crave instant answers, immediate gratification, a clear sign that our efforts are not in vain. But the dark wisdom of the Dharma whispers a different truth. Suffering arises not just from pain, but from our attachment to outcomes. We want the fruit before the tree grows, the spring without enduring the frozen winter. In dark spirituality, waiting is not punishment. It is preparation. A slow fire forging the soul for something greater. Picture the desert as a mirror of your inner journey. Each grain of sand is a moment of doubt, each empty horizon an unfulfilled promise. But what if the desert is not barren? What if, beneath the arid surface, invisible roots are forming, waiting for the right moment to break through the soil? Spiritual motivation lies not in forcing the rain, but in trusting the universe's natural cycle. The delay, so feared in our hurried age, is a teacher in disguise. It teaches stillness, the art of remaining steady while the world spins. It invites you to look inward, where answers are not shouted but whispered in the dark. I recall nights when, after meditating, I opened my eyes to face the void. The incense had burned to ash, a metaphor for my fading hopes. But something shifted when I began to embrace this void without resistance. Instead of fighting the silence, I started to listen. Suffering, I learned, stems from the craving for quick results, for control over the uncontrollable. By letting go of the need for immediate answers, something within me began to unfold, like a night-blooming flower opening under the moon's gaze. Imagine you're waiting as a dark forest, where each tree whispers a lesson. You walk through fog-covered paths, unsure of their destination, but each step is a choice: resist or trust. Spiritual motivation is born when you choose trust, not in a radiant future, but in the mystery of the now. The universe, in its enigmatic wisdom, does not deny your prayers. It refines them. It knows that the energy of desperation constricts the heart, like an invisible hand crushing your light. Faith, in contrast, expands it, like wings unfurling in the dark. In dark spirituality, faith is the courage to walk without seeing the destination, knowing the path is being woven by unseen hands. This journey is not easy. Waiting can feel like a chain, but it is also a key. Every moment of doubt, every starless night, is an opportunity for inner transformation. The path to enlightenment is gradual. Like climbing a fog-shrouded mountain, you cannot see the summit, but each step matters. In my own journey, I began to see that the delay was not the universe ignoring me. It was the universe shaping me. The seeds I planted, meditation, kindness, patience, were not dead. They were rooting in the dark, waiting for the moment to break through. If this message resonates with your soul, pause now. Breathe deeply. Ask yourself, what is my waiting trying to teach me? Share your story in the comments below. Your shadows, your doubts, your quiet victories. Join the dark spirituality community by subscribing to our channel, where we dive deeper into the mysteries of the Dharma and spiritual motivation. In this journey, we will continue to unravel the lessons of delay, guided by an ancient story that changed my perspective forever. Prepare to question your haste, for in the shadows of waiting, truth reveals itself slowly, like a star rising in a midnight sky. Part 2. A visita ao mangia parabola das sombras. O que acontecer quando a frustração te arrasta para lugar, onde as árvores serão segredos tão antigos que parecem escritos nas estrelas? Meu coração pesado como uma pedra polida pelo sofrimento, neo suportava mais o peso da espera. A dúvida roia minha alma como lobo faminto, e o silencio do universo parecia uma treco. Decidi buscar respostas onde o mundo se calava, onde o tempo parecia suspenso. Caminhei por uma trilha sinuosa a mistério escondido no topo de uma colina solitária. Os bambus altos e esquios balancavam como espectros sob uma nevoa fria que abarcava o chão. O ar era denso, carregado com o perfume úmido de terra molhada e o sussurro distante sino, como se o próprio tempo respirasse segredo. Cada passo nas pedras musgosas, escorregadias pela umidade de manhã, parecia-me afastar do chaos barulhento de minha mente me puxar para vazio maior. Mistério que ainda não podia nomear. A floresta ao redor parecia viva, as folhas sussurrando como voces de ancestrais esquecidos, guiando-me para algo que eu precisava, mas ainda não entendia. Cheguei ao mistério ao amanhecer, quando a luz cinzenta mal tocava as telhas de madeira envelhecida. O velho monge estava lá, sentado em uma plataforma de pedra, envolto em manto tão escuro quanto a noite que ainda resiste ao dia. Seus olhos eram poucos profundos, como se guardassem séculos de silêncio, de histórias nunca contadas. Ele me recebeu sem uma palavra, apenas gesto lento, quase ritualístico, para que eu me sentasse diante dele. O ar entre nos era passado, carregado como eletricidade de momento que parecia suspenso entre mundos. Despedi meu coração as noites insins, a espera que parecia castigo, a ausência de sinais que confirmassem que meus esforços valem a pena. Falei de sensiceo de estar preso em ciclo de promessas quebradas, como se o universo tivesse esquecido meu nome. Ele ouviu imóvel como uma estátua esculpida pelo vento, sem jamais interromper. Quando terminei exausto esse sorriso surgiu neo de zombaria, mas como uma fenda de luz cortando a escuridão, reflexo de sabedoria que já vira esse lamento em mil voces antes de minha. Enteo ele falou, sua voz grave como o murmúrio de uma tempestade que se aproxima, cada palavra caindo como uma pedra em lago silencioso. Ele me contou uma parábola que acua minha alma como trabalho em uma caverna esquecida. Havia homem que, em jardim envolto em sombras densas, plantou uma semente bode, acreditando que ela traria luz a sua existência vazia. Ele a plantou com cuidado, sob a luz pálida se encoberto, sonhando como árvore sagrada que transformaria sua vida. Diariamente ele voltava ao jardim, regando a semente com lágrimas de esperança misturadas com desespero. Ajustava o solo negro com mãos trêmulas, arrancando ervas daninhas imaginárias, assegurando que os raios de sol, filtrados pelas copas escuras das árvores, tocassem o ponto exato onde a semente descansava. Mas em poucos dias, a ansiedade consumiu como fogo que devora madeira seca. Por que não brota? Gritava para o vazio, sua voz engalada pela escuridão do jardim. Impatient ele começou a cavar a terra a cada amanhecer, suas mãos febres expondo as raízes frágeis à luz cruel, perturbando o silêncio que a semente precisava para enraizar. Sua pressa ele escucha a verdade mais antiga, a lei que governa todas as coisas vivas. Uma semente não precisa de mãos ansiosas, mas de quietude, de escuridão de tempo. O monge pausou seus olhos fixos nos meus e perguntou, com uma voz que parecia vir do próprio coração da terra. Você já cavou suas próprias sementes? Aquilas palavras caíram sobre mim como chuva em deserto estral. Cada sílaba penetrando fundo, recando a crosta endurecida de minha frustração. Eu entendi a parábola. Mas a compreensão era apenas uma faísca tremelhante, na escuridão de minha mente. Foi só mais tarde, naquela mesma noite, sentido sob sacravejado de estrelas frias, como vento cortante como uma lâmina, que alitçou assim aprofundo em mim, cortando como uma faca afiada. Eu era aquele homem. Cada vez que questionava o ritmo de minha vida, cada vez que me comparava aos outros, aqueles que pareciam florescer em campos ensolarados, suas vidas brilhando como ouro enquanto eu permanecia enraizado na sombra, eu estava cavando minhas próprias sementes. Minha impaciência era uma força destrutiva, arrancando as raízes frágeis do progresso que eu havia plantado com tanto cuidado. Cada dúvida, cada porquê não agora. Era uma pá que desenterrava o que precisava de tempo para crescer. A mente humana, faminta por resolução, uma fera selvagem que devora a própria esperança, transformando a espera em sofrimento. Queremos o fruto antes que a árvore esteja pronta, a vitória sem o peso da jornada, a luz sem atravessar a escuridão. Na espiritualidade dark, aprendemos que o Dharma não oferece respostas rápidas, nem promessas de alívio imediato. Ele nos confronta com uma verdade implacável. O sofrimento o duca nasce do apego aos resultados, do craving tanja que nos acorrenta a roda interminável do desejo. Queremos a primavera sem o inverno rigoroso, o dia sem a noite que o precede. Mas o universo opera em ritmo mais sabio, ritmo que não se cava a nossa pressa, que não se rende às nossas demandas. Comecei a observar meus pensamentos com mais cuidado, como quem vigia sombras dencando na parede de uma caverna iluminada por uma única chama. Cada vez que a impaciência surgia, como lobo faminto rondando minha paz interior, eu sussurrava para mim mesmo, seja imóvel. Deixe desdobrar. Era mantra simples mas poderoso, como uma chave de ferro que abria portas escondidas no escuro, portas que levavam a uma compreensão mais profunda. Externamente, o mundo permanecia o mesmo. O emprego não mudava, as oportunidades continuavam distantes, a paz interior ainda parecia horizonte inalcançável. Mas internamente algo comunicava se transformar, como neve derretendo sob o calor sutil de fogo invisível. Percebi que o atraso não era castigo cruel do universo, mas uma forja sagrada. Ele estava moldando minha alma, alejando minha energia para algo que ainda não podia enxergar, algo que exigia uma verso de mim mais forte, mais sabia, mais preparada. A desesperação comeceu a perder cruel, a uma energia densa, que contrai o coração e nubla a visão, como uma tempestade que bloqueia as estrelas. A fé por outro lado a leve expansiva, como asas corvo cortando o sua traves de uma tempestade. Na motivação espiritual, aprendemos que o que atrasado não é negado, mas refinado, polido pelo tempo et brilhar com propósito maior. O vazio entre o desejo e a realização não é abismo estral. Espaço sagrado caio de licos invisíveis de proteção oculta, de transformação que só o silencio pode tecer. Expandindo essa lição, imagine sua vida como uma floresta escura, onde cada semente plantada, cada ato de bondade, cada momento de meditação, cada esforço sincero, está enraizando sob o solo negro, longe dos olhos ansiosos. Cavar essas sementes com dúvida ou impaciência e destruí-las. Arrancar suas raízes antes que tenham força para romper a terra. A parábola do monge me ensinou que a paciência não é apenas esperar. A confiar no processo invisível, na sabedoria do tempo que opera além de nossa compreensão. A saber que o universo não esquece, não ignora, não abandona. Ele trabalha em silêncio, como escultor que esculpe uma estátua na escuridão, revelando sua forma apenas quando a luz certa ataca. Na espiritualidade dark, a espera é mais do que teste. Ritual sagrado, uma dança com as sombras que nos prepara para receber o que pedimos, Mas apenas cuando estivermos prontos para carregar esse peso. Mas como aprender a dançar com essas sombras? Comecei a praticar a quietude, a ouvir o silencio em vez de combatê-lo. Cada noite, sob o mesmo se estrelado, eu me sentava com minha respiração, dixando os pensamentos de frustração passaram como nuvens escuras. Não era fácil. A mente resistia querendo respostas querendo controle. Mas aos poucos aprendi a soltar. Aprendi que a espera não é vazio, mas útero lugar onde a transformação germina, onde a alma é forjada. O monge começou a parábola, plantou-me uma semente nova, uma que o prometi não descenturar. E pela primeira vez, senti que a escuridão e o meu redor não era uma prisão, mas santuário. Se essa história resume sua alma, pause agora e reflita. Quantas vezes você cavou suas próprias sementes como pada impaciência? Quantas vezes dique sua dúvida arrancar as raízes do que você plantou com tanto cuidado? Compartilhe sua jornada nos comentários abaixo. Suas lutas, suas sombras, suas pequenas vitórias na dança como tempo. Inscreva-se no canal Dark Spirituality para mergulhar mais fundo nas verdades sombrias do Dharma e da motivação espiritual. Nesta jornada, continuaremos a explorar como o atraso se torna uma benção disfarçada, guiados por histórias antigas que revelam o poder da quietude. Prepare-se para ouvir o sussurro do universo, que não fala em respostas rápidas, mas em silencios profundos que transformam a alma. Part 3, Craving Tanha and the Cycle of Shadows. What if your greatest prison is not the world outside, but the ravenous desire within, devouring your inner peace like a shadow swallowing the light, leaving only the echo of your own unrest? The Buddha, in his ancient wisdom, unveiled the secret that binds us. Craving Tanha, the insatiable thirst that spins the wheel of suffering, an eternal cycle of pain, illusion, and yearning. It is not just attachment to material things, gold that glitters briefly, pleasures that fade like smoke. It is a deeper, more treacherous hunger. The craving for swift results, instant healing, rewards that strike like lightning in a storm. This hunger is a living shadow, a beast with sharp claws that turns motivation into obsession, hope into despair, faith into doubt. Everything in the universe rises and falls in its own rhythm, like the moon that emerges slowly, illuminates for a moment, and vanishes into the night's veil, indifferent to our pleas. Yet we, in our blind haste, fight this rhythm, as if we could bend time with the sheer force of our will, as if we could wrench the future from the womb of the present. There was a young monk named Jataka, whose heart was a burden of dark lead, heavy with disappointment that gathered like ashes after a fire. He had devoted himself to practice with fervor, meditating for months, years, under the dim glow of lanterns in the shadows of silent monasteries. Yet the peace he sought slipped through his fingers like water, and the profound insights others seemed to find remained beyond his grasp. Exhausted, he knelt before the Buddha, his voice trembling with anguish, nearly broken by the weight of waiting. Why do others bloom so quickly, Lord, while I remain stagnant in the darkness, without peace, without light, without answers? The enlightened one, with eyes serene as a lake under moonlight, did not answer with immediate words. Instead, he pointed to the forest around them, where trees of all sizes stood in silence, some towering, others just sprouting from the soil. Look at the trees, Jataka, he said, his voice soft as the wind caressing the leaves. Some grow tall in a single season, their leaves gleaming in the sun as if dancing with light. Others take years, rooting deeply in the black earth, struggling through hard soil before emerging. Yet all in their time grow toward the sky. Would you uproot a slow tree for its delay? Would you judge it for not matching the pace of others? In the silence that followed, thick as fog over a swamp, Jataka understood. The universe does not measure growth by speed, but by readiness. And readiness is not won with haste, but cultivated in stillness, patience, and surrender to the wisdom of time. In dark spirituality, this lesson is a sharpened blade that slices through our deepest illusions. We live in a world that glorifies haste, where life rushes like a runaway train through the darkness, never pausing to breathe. In this frenzy, delays are seen as failures, cracks in our carefully built dreams. We equate speed with success, waiting with weakness, as if time were an enemy to be conquered with force and determination. But the Dharma reveals a different rhythm, a deeper pulse that resonates in the heart of the present moment. In this rhythm, nothing is wasted. Every instant, no matter how empty it seems, carries an unseen purpose, a seed planted in the dark, waiting for the right moment to break through the soil. The lotus, a sacred symbol of enlightenment, does not bloom in haste. It rises slowly through murky waters, facing the resistance of dense mud, until it unfurls pristine on the surface, its beauty untouched by the mire that birthed it. Its journey cannot be rushed, just as the blessings we seek cannot be forced. The job that didn't come, the love that departed, the opportunity that slipped away like sand through your fingers. These are not losses but gentle redirections from the universe. In its somber wisdom, it sees what our anxious eyes cannot. Either we are not ready to carry what we ask for, or what we ask for does not align with the deeper path of our soul. Imagine your life as a dark river, flowing beneath a starless sky, where the current is strong but invisible. You row with force, desperate to reach the shore, to find solid ground where you can rest. But the river has its own intentions, its hidden currents carrying you not where you think you want to go, but where you need to be. Craving tanha is the force that makes you fight this flow, rowing against the river's wisdom, expending energy in a battle you cannot win. Every desire for an immediate outcome is a wave threatening to drown you, every expectation a current pulling you under. But when you release the oars, when you allow yourself to float, you begin to see that delay is not an obstacle, it is a guide. It is the universe teaching you to swim with the current, to trust the flow, to embrace the mystery of the path. Jataka learned this in the forest silence, under the Buddha's calm gaze. I began to learn it in my own shadows, in the nights when the weight of waiting seemed to crush my soul. This lesson demands courage, a courage that shines in the darkness like a solitary flame. In a world that idolizes speed, choosing patience is an act of rebellion, a defiance of the rules that tell us value lies in swiftness, in immediate conquest. Patience is like walking through a dark forest without a lantern, trusting only the sound of your steps, the rustle of leaves, the feel of the earth beneath you. Every moment of waiting is an opportunity for transformation, an invitation to let go of the need to control time, to force the future to bow to the present. The Dharma teaches that suffering arises not just from pain, but from our resistance to life's natural flow. When we stop digging the soil for premature roots, we allow growth to happen in secret, beneath the surface, where the seeds of change take root in the dark. The lotus does not question the mud that surrounds it. It moves through it, knowing the mire is part of its journey. So too, our blessings are not denied. They are being prepared, polished by time, shaped by silence, until we can receive them with the dignity and strength they demand. How do you embrace this slow rhythm when the mind screams for answers? I began to practice observing my desires, like studying shadows cast by a fire. Each time craving tanha arose, demanding results, insisting on signs, I took a deep breath and asked, what am I trying to control? What am I afraid to release? Slowly, I learned to see waiting as a sacred space, not a void. It was like sitting by a black lake, where the moon's reflection reveals truths the daylight hides. In that space, I noticed subtle shifts. My breath grew lighter. My anxiety gave way to a fragile but real calm. The delay, I realized, was not a wall but a bridge, leading me to a version of myself I had yet to meet, one forged in the quiet crucible of time. Expanding further, think of your waiting as a deep cave, where the darkness is not punishment but an invitation. In Buddhist lore, hermits sought caves to meditate, to lose themselves in silence until their inner light emerged. Your waiting is your cave, a place where the ego is tested, impatience confronted, and faith forged. Every moment you resist the urge to dig up your seeds, every time you choose trust over doubt, you are building an unseen foundation. This foundation is made of patience, surrender, and a trust that needs no proof, only the certainty that the universe is at work, even when your eyes cannot see. The lotus, before it blooms, spends years rooted in mud, never doubting its destiny. You too are rooting, even if the sprouts remain hidden. If this message stirs your soul, pause now and reflect. What is your craving tanha trying to control? What seeds are you digging up with impatience? What blessings might you be interrupting with haste? Share your story in the comments, your doubts, your shadows, your discoveries in the journey through darkness. Subscribe to the Dark Spirituality channel to continue this journey through the somber truths of the Dharma and spiritual motivation. We will keep exploring how delay transforms into disguised blessings, guided by ancient stories that illuminate the power of stillness and trust in the universe's invisible rhythm. Part 4. The Zen Story and Disguised Blessings. Imagine praying for peace and receiving only chaos. Would you call it a curse? Or could it be the greatest gift hidden in the shadows of turmoil? In the Zen tradition, there is a story that shines like a lantern in a dark forest, revealing truths only the shadows can teach. Once there was a man, weary of the flames of conflict that consumed his shadowy village. Each day brought new disputes, voices loud as thunder, promises snapping like dry twigs, hearts shattering like glass under the weight of anger. Exhausted, he knelt each night beneath a starless sky, hands raised in supplication, pleading with the heavens, "Grant me serenity, bring me peace." He envisioned a gentle silence, a calm that would extinguish the embers of discord, a relief to wrap his soul like a cloak. But days turned to weeks and weeks dragged into months, and instead of peace, chaos intensified. Quarrels erupted like storms, illnesses spread like poisonous mist, misfortunes fell like stones from an unforgiving mountain. The man, with hot tears streaming like rivers down his face, shouted into the void, "Is this your answer, universe? Is this the fate you reserve for me?" His voice echoed, lost in the cold wind, unanswered, only the mocking silence of the night. Then an old Zen master with wrinkles like maps of forgotten journeys heard his cry. He approached, his steps light as falling leaves, and spoke with a voice that seemed to rise from the earth's heart. Peace does not come as a wrapped gift delivered to your hands. It is not a reward that falls from the sky. Peace is awakened through turmoil, forged in the flames of chaos. The universe is not ignoring you. It is training you in the shadows. The man, stunned, looked into the master's eyes, which gleamed like distant stars. In that moment, a truth began to form, like a seed breaking through dark soil. What he saw as a curse was, in fact, a path. The storms of life were not punishments. They were teachers in disguise, sculpting his soul to carry the peace he so desperately sought. In dark spirituality, this story is a mirror for our own struggles. How many times have we asked the universe for something, strength, wisdom, compassion, and received the opposite of what we expected? We pray for strength and life hands us shadowed struggles, challenges that bend us like trees in the wind. We ask for wisdom, and we receive mistakes that cut like blades, leaving scars that tell stories. We seek compassion, and life presents people who test our patience to its limits, as if the universe were laughing at our pleas. But what if these are not cruel responses? What if they are blessings disguised, wrapped in silence, failure, and delay? Looking back, we see that these moments, the ones that made us weep, doubt, question, were the ones that shaped us like clay in a fire. They were the storms that taught us to stand, the errors that gave us clarity, the conflicts that showed us the value of calm. If we received what we asked for too soon, without the depth forged by waiting, we might lack the strength to hold it, like a fragile cup unable to contain a potent wine. Imagine your life as a fog-shrouded forest, where every desire is a seed cast into dark soil. You plant it with hope, water it with effort, but its growth does not follow your schedule. The universe, in its enigmatic wisdom, does not deliver the fruit when you demand. It waits until your roots are firm, until your soul is ready to bear the blessing's weight. What you await, peace, success, love, is also waiting for you, but not for the version of you that clamors with desperation. It waits for the transformed you, forged in the sacred void of waiting, polished by the shadows of suffering. In this space of delay, something profound happens. The ego dissolves like mist at dawn, surrender deepens like a river carving its bed, and trust is tested and refined like gold in a fire. This space is not empty. It is a sanctuary, where the universe works in silence, weaving what you asked for into something greater than you imagined. Expanding further, the delay so feared is more than a pause. It is a master. Think of the man in the Zen story, weeping under the dark sky. He saw chaos as punishment, but the master showed him it was training. Each quarrel in the village was a lesson in patience, each illness a chance to cultivate resilience, each misfortune an invitation to find inner strength. So it is with us all. When we ask for peace, the universe may give us conflicts to teach serenity. When we seek love, it may give us solitude to teach self-love. When we pray for clarity, it may offer confusion to teach trust. In dark spirituality, blessings do not always shine, wrapped in light. They come disguised as silence, failure, delay, like a lotus that blooms only after crossing the dark mud. And when we look back, we see that these moments, the ones that made us feel forgotten, lost, broken, were the ones that built us. They prepared us to carry what we asked for with grace and wisdom. Consider your own journey. How many times have you asked for something and received its opposite? How many times have you mistaken delay for rejection, chaos for abandonment? What if, instead, you saw each obstacle as a piece of a larger puzzle, each shadow as part of a sacred mosaic? The universe does not forget your prayers. It refines them, like a sculptor working in the dark, shaping stone until its true form emerges. What is yours cannot be lost. It is growing in silence, like a lotus beneath the dark surface, its petals forming where your eyes cannot see. Trusting this transforms waiting into an act of faith, desire into a living prayer, stillness into sacred movement. The delay in the end is not just a pause. It is the blessing itself disguised, waiting for you to recognize it. Expanding further, picture yourself as a traveler on a dark road, where the path ahead is cloaked in fog. You carry a lantern, but its light is faint, illuminating only the next step. Each delay, each obstacle is like an unexpected turn in the road, not an end but a redirection. The universe, like an unseen guide, knows where you are going, even when you do not. It does not deny your pleas. It redirects them, guiding you through paths that strengthen your soul. In the Zen story, the man learned that peace was not something to be given, but something to be discovered within, through the chaos he feared. So too, your struggles are not punishments, they are portals. Each conflict is a door to patience, each failure a window to wisdom, each weight a mirror to faith. In dark spirituality, the journey is not about avoiding the darkness, but walking through it, knowing the light you seek is already within, waiting to be found. If this message stirs your shadowed soul, pause now and reflect. What disguised blessings might you be overlooking? What chaos in your life could be training for something greater? Share your story in the comments. Your struggles, your shadows, the lessons chaos has brought you. Subscribe to the Dark Spirituality channel to continue this journey through the somber truths of the Dharma and spiritual motivation. We will keep unraveling how delay transforms into a sacred gift, guided by stories that illuminate the power of surrender and trust in the universe's mystery. Part 5: The Freedom of Detachment. What happens when you release control and dive into the abyss of uncertainty? Where shadows become teachers, silence unveils truths the light could never reveal, and the void transforms into a sanctuary for the soul. True peace, the kind that calms the soul like a black lake reflecting a starry sky, does not come from the swift fulfillment of desires, nor from a future bending to our anxious demands. It is born from a deeper freedom, the freedom to let go, to relinquish the need to control time, to force the universe to dance to the frantic rhythm of our hearts. When we release this craving, something within us softens, like ice melting under the gentle touch of unseen warmth. The mind, once galloping like a wild horse in a storm, begins to slow, finding rest in the steady pulse of the present moment. The heart, once constricted by anxiety, expands like a raven's wings unfurling in the darkness, ready to soar through the night. In this space, in this sacred void, true transformation begins, not with the clamor of trumpets or the flash of lightning, but with the almost imperceptible whisper of surrender, a murmur echoing in the depths of the soul. The path to enlightenment, as the Dharma teaches, is not a race, but a slow journey, like climbing a mountain shrouded in dense fog. Each step feels small, almost insignificant, lost in the mist, but each is vital. You cannot see the summit, but you feel the ground beneath your feet, steady even in uncertainty, guiding you through the dark. Consider the bamboo in its silent wisdom. It spends years rooting in the dark soil, hidden from the light, its tendrils weaving through cold earth before bursting forth in vibrant green, piercing the sky like a spear. So too is our inner growth. It deepens in the shadows where no one witnesses, where even we may not perceive, until suddenly something new emerges, strong and unbreakable. Or think of the raindrop, falling so softly it goes unnoticed, yet over time it carves the hardest stone, creating rivers where only rock once stood. This is the power of patient practice, meditation that stills the mind like a lake under the moon. mindfulness that anchors the present like an anchor in the sea's depths, compassion that softens the heart like wind shaping desert dunes. Each act, no matter how small, is a drop that sculpts, a seed that roots, a step that brings you closer to the unseen summit. In dark spirituality, faith is not blind belief, a naive leap toward fragile promises that crumble like mist at dawn. It is a profound trust, rooted in the immutable law of nature, in the eternal flow of cause and effect, in the unshakable truth that nothing done with sincerity is wasted. Every act of kindness, even if unnoticed, is a seed cast into the dark soil of your soul. Every conscious breath, taken amid the world's chaos, is a step on the mountain of enlightenment. Every moment you choose restraint over anger, patience over haste, surrender over control, builds an invisible foundation, a subtle strength that grows like roots beneath cold earth. And eventually this foundation manifests, not as a thunderclap shaking the sky, but as a silent shift, a dawn that arrives without warning, illuminating what was once hidden in the dark. Imagine your life as a black ocean, vast and unfathomable, where the waves of desire pull you under and the currents of faith guide you to the surface. Craving tanha, the thirst for instant results, is like an iron anchor, tethering you to the abyss where the darkness suffocates. Releasing this anchor does not mean abandoning your dreams. It means trusting that the ocean knows where to carry you, even when the shores are hidden in fog. When you stop fighting the waves, when you allow yourself to float, something miraculous happens. The heart becomes spacious, like a night sky without clouds, where stars shine freely. It no longer panics in the face of the unknown, no longer clings desperately to control. Instead, it opens like a night-blooming flower unfolding under the darkness, revealing its beauty only to the moon. This openness is what allows blessings to arrive. Not the ones you expected with their bright, predictable forms shaped by your anxious mind, but the ones you needed, those that fit perfectly into the unseen cracks of your soul, healing wounds you didn't know you carried. When you feel trapped, invisible, forgotten by the universe, like a traveler lost in an endless forest, remember, a tree does not bloom year-round. The earth rests in silence during winter, gathering strength for spring's explosion. The moon waxes and wanes, following a cycle that does not obey our whims, yet is perfect in its cosmic dance. The universe has its seasons, and you are not separate from this sacred rhythm. Your spring will come, but not before your roots are ready, deep enough to sustain the weight of what you desire. In the meantime, breathe, as if each inhalation were a prayer to the present moment. Remain still, like a lake reflecting the stars without trying to hold them. Walk gently, as if each step were an offering to the earth. Speak with kindness, even when the world responds with cruelty. Trust the path, even when it vanishes in the fog. When the light is so distant it feels like a lost dream. The path is always beneath your feet, even if your eyes cannot see it. Expanding further, think of your waiting as a sacred cave, a sanctuary carved in the darkness of time. In Buddhist tradition, hermits sought caves to meditate, to lose themselves in silence until their inner light emerged, clear and unwavering, like a flame that does not flicker. Your waiting is your cave, a place where the ego is challenged, impatience confronted, and faith forged like a sword in fire. Every moment you resist the urge to force the future, every time you choose trust over doubt, you are building something greater, an invisible temple within. It is like weaving a tapestry in the dark, thread by thread, without seeing the pattern, but knowing it is taking shape. The universe is not punishing you with delay. It is protecting you, preparing you, refining you like a sculptor working in shadow, shaping stone until its true form is revealed. Each practice, each breath, each act of surrender is a thread in this tapestry, a note in a melody you have yet to hear, but which is being composed. How do you cultivate this trust, this surrender? When the mind screams for answers and the heart races with anxiety, I began to practice surrender in small moments, like learning to walk a tightrope. When impatience arose, a storm threatening my balance, I paused and breathed, letting thoughts pass like dark clouds crossing a night sky. When doubt made me question the value of my efforts, I recalled the bamboo, rooting in silence for years before piercing the soil with a force no one could predict. Each meditation, no matter how brief, was an offering to the present moment, a small flame lit in the dark. Each act of kindness, even without immediate reward, was a seed I trusted would bloom in its time. Slowly, I realized that waiting was not a prison, but a portal, a passage to a version of myself I had yet to meet, one destined to emerge strong and ready. Expanding further, picture yourself as a river flowing through a dark gorge, your waters reflecting only fragments of light. You cannot see the destination, but you feel the movement, the current carrying you. Delay is part of this flow, a bend in the river that seems to divert you from your path, but is actually guiding you to a greater sea. Every time you resist the urge to fight the current, every time you choose to float instead of row with desperation, you draw closer to freedom, not the freedom to have all you desire, but to no longer need to control what comes. This is the essence of dark spirituality. Finding peace in uncertainty, strength in waiting, light in darkness. Delay is not a void. It is a sacred space where transformation germinates, where the universe sculpts a version of you capable of carrying the blessings to come. If this message stirs your shadowed soul, pause now and reflect. What are you trying to control? What anchors of desire can you release to float with the universe's flow? What small steps of surrender can you take today? Share your story in the comments, your struggles, your shadows, your discoveries in the journey of letting go. Subscribe to the Dark Spirituality channel to continue this journey through the somber truths of the Dharma and spiritual motivation. We will keep unraveling how delay transforms into a sacred gift, guided by lessons that illuminate the power of stillness, trust, and the invisible rhythm of the universe. Part 6. Expansion of Dark Metaphors. In the depths of the night, where shadows dance like specters and silence whispers secrets older than the stars, what lesson is the universe etching into your soul? Picture your life as a vast, shadowy ocean, an abyss of liquid darkness where waves are your desires and currents unseen are the universe's wisdom. You row with force, arms trembling with effort, desperate to reach a shore that never appears on the horizon. Each stroke is a cry for results, for answers, for an end to the waiting that weighs like an anchor on your chest. But the delay, this force you fear, is not an enemy. It is the hidden current guiding you to the right harbor, one your anxious eyes cannot yet see. In dark spirituality, motivation does not come from forcing the shore to appear, but from trusting the ocean's flow, from releasing the oars and letting the waters carry you. Every moment of waiting is a wave that shapes your soul. Every silence a lesson the universe whispers as you learn to float. Or consider the raven, a sacred figure in many traditions, soaring through dark storms, its wings slicing through icy winds in search of the sun hidden behind clouds. It does not fight the storm, does not curse its fury. It flies with it, using its gusts to rise higher, trusting the sun is there, even when concealed. Its patience is its strength, its faith its compass. So too is your journey. Each delay is a storm, each doubt a gust of wind, but your trust in the process keeps you soaring. The raven does not ask when the sun will appear. It knows its flight will lead to light. In spiritual motivation, delay is your ally, not your foe. A wind that pushes you toward the destiny the universe has prepared. Expanding further, envision your nightly meditations as a sacred ritual, where you sit in a dark room, with only a flickering candle casting shadows that dance like spirits on the walls. In this space you plant seeds in the black soil of your soul. Seeds of hope, effort, kindness. The temptation is to dig, to unearth these seeds to see if they're growing, to force the sprout to emerge before its time. But the darkness is not a void. It is a womb, a place of creation where growth happens in secret. Let the darkness nurture. Each seed you plant, each moment of patience, is an act of faith in the unseen. This black soil is fertile, and your seeds are not dead. They are rooting, weaving through the earth, preparing to break the surface when the moment is right. In dark spirituality, waiting is an act of alchemy, transforming suffering into wisdom, doubt into resilience, despair into hope. Think of the ancient stories of hermits who sought dark caves, not to escape the world, but to dive into its depths. They sat in silence, wrapped in darkness, until their inner light emerged, clear as a star rising in a midnight sky. Your delay is your cave, a sacred space where the ego is challenged, impatience confronted, and the soul forged. Every moment you resist the urge to dig up your seeds. Every time you choose trust over doubt, you are building an invisible temple within. This temple is made of simple yet powerful practices. A gratitude journal where you note the shadows that taught you. A mantra of surrender like I trust the unfolding, repeated like a prayer in the darkest nights. These rituals transform waiting into an act of devotion, a path to spiritual motivation that does not depend on results, but on the certainty that the universe is working, even when your eyes cannot see. Expanding further, picture your journey as a dark forest, where each tree is a lesson, each branch a story whispered by the wind. You walk through fog-covered paths, unsure of their destination, but every step is a choice. Resist or trust. Spiritual motivation blooms when you choose trust, when you see delay as an ally, not an enemy. Think of the lotus, which does not question the mud that surrounds it, but moves through it, its roots deepening in the mire to support the flower that will one day shine on the surface. Your waiting is this mud. Not an obstacle but a medium, a nutrient that strengthens your roots. Each practice of patience, each moment of surrender, is a root that deepens, preparing you to sustain the blessings to come. The universe is not denying you. It is shaping you like a sculptor working in the dark, carving a statue whose form will only be revealed in the right light. How do you cultivate this trust when the mind screams for answers? I began to practice small rituals of surrender. On dark nights when doubt enveloped me like a cold fog, I lit a candle and wrote a single sentence of gratitude for something the shadows taught me. A lesson in patience, a moment of resilience. When impatience arose, a storm threatening my peace, I repeated the mantra. I trust the unfolding. It was like casting a stone into a lake, creating ripples that calmed the restless surface of my mind. Each meditation, even if brief, was an offering to the present moment, a flame that lit the dark. Each act of kindness, even without immediate reward, was a seed I trusted would bloom in its time. Slowly, I realized that delay was not a void, but a sacred space, a womb where transformation germinated, where the universe sculpted a stronger, wiser, more prepared version of me. Expanding further, imagine yourself as a river flowing through a dark gorge, your waters reflecting only fragments of light. You cannot see the destination, but you feel the movement, the current carrying you. Delay is a bend in this river, a shift that seems to stray from your path, but is guiding you to a greater sea. Every time you resist the urge to fight the current, every time you choose to float instead of row with desperation, you draw closer to freedom, not the freedom to have all you desire, but to no longer need to control what comes. This is the essence of dark spirituality. Finding peace in uncertainty, strength in waiting, light in darkness. Delay is a portal, a space where the universe prepares, refines, and aligns you with what is truly yours. Each practice, each breath, each moment of trust is a note in a melody you have yet to hear, but which is being composed, thread by thread, in the darkness. If this message stirs your shadowed soul, pause now and reflect. What seeds are you planting in the shadows? What lessons is the darkness trying to teach you? How can you transform your waiting into a ritual of trust? Share your story in the comments, your struggles, your shadows, your discoveries in the journey of surrender. Subscribe to the Dark Spirituality channel to continue this journey through the somber truths of the Dharma and spiritual motivation. We will keep unraveling how delay transforms into a sacred gift, guided by metaphors that illuminate the power of stillness, trust, and the invisible rhythm of the universe. Part 7: Practical Lessons for the Dark Path. Are you ready to transform your waiting into a journey of dark power, where every moment of silence becomes a ritual, and every shadow reveals a path to transformation? In dark spirituality, waiting is not merely a gap between desire and fulfillment. It is a sacred space, a fertile ground where the soul is cultivated, shaped, and strengthened. But how do you turn this apparent void into a portal of power? How do you make delay, which often feels like a chain, into a key that unlocks hidden doors in the darkness? The answer lies in simple yet profound practices that anchor your soul in the present, transforming impatience into patience, doubt into trust, despair into a dance with the universe's invisible rhythm. These practices are like lanterns lit in a dark forest, illuminating not the final destination, but the next step, the one you can take now, in this moment, even if the horizon remains shrouded in fog. Begin each day with a meditation in a darkened room, where the only light comes from a flickering candle or the moon's soft glow filtering through a window. Sit in silence, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Each inhale an invitation to the present, each exhale a surrender of the need to control the future. Do not seek grand answers or visions. Simply be with the moment, as if it were an old friend carrying secrets. When thoughts of impatience or frustration arise, observe them like shadows dancing on a wall, without judgment, without following. Let them pass like clouds crossing a midnight sky. This practice, even if it lasts only 5 minutes, is a seed planted in the black soil of your soul, a seed that roots in silence, preparing you for the blossoming to come. Over time you'll notice the mind, once restless as a raging river, beginning to calm, becoming a lake that reflects the stars. When impatience surges during the day, that tightening in the chest, that voice whispering, "Why hasn't it happened yet?" Pause and ask yourself, what is this shadow trying to teach me? This question is a blade that cuts through anxiety, revealing the lesson hidden in delay. Perhaps the waiting is teaching you resilience, or inviting you to release attachment to a specific outcome. Perhaps it is a call to trust the universe's invisible rhythm, which operates beyond our comprehension. Write this lesson in a journal, as if collecting fragments of light in a dark cave. Each entry is an acknowledgement that delay is not a void, but a sacred space where wisdom germinates. This journal will become a map of your journey, a record of the shadows that became teachers. Visualize the lotus, the sacred symbol of enlightenment, as your personal metaphor. In your nightly meditations, imagine yourself as this flower, your roots sunk deep in dark mud, rising slowly through murky waters. The mud is not an obstacle. It is what nourishes you, what sustains you. Each moment of waiting, each challenge is part of this mud, strengthening your roots so your flower can bloom on the surface. When you feel stuck, when progress seems slow, picture this lotus, its petals still closed but growing, ready to open when the time is right. This image is a reminder. Your journey is not defined by speed, but by the depth of your roots. Read Buddhist texts at night, under the dim light of a candle or a soft lamp, as if unraveling ancient secrets. Choose passages from the Dhammapada or Zen master's stories, letting the words sink in like rain on dry earth. Do not read in haste, seeking quick answers. Read with reverence, as if each sentence were a whisper from the universe. Jot down a phrase that resonates, perhaps about patience, detachment, or life's impermanence, and carry it like a talisman through the day. Repeat it when doubt arises, like a mantra anchoring your soul. For example, all arises and passes. I trust the rhythm of now can become a prayer guiding you through impatience's storms. Build a dark community, even if small. Share your stories of delays that turned into blessings, whether with friends, online forums, or in our channel's comments. Tell of the moment waiting felt unbearable, yet revealed a strength you didn't know you had. Listen to others' stories, like lanterns lighting different paths in the same dark forest. These connections create a sense of belonging, a reminder that you are not alone. Each shared story is proof that the universe conspires in silence, working behind the scenes, even when your eyes cannot see. Expanding further, practice gratitude for the shadows. At the end of each day, sit with your journal and write 3 things waiting taught you. Perhaps a lesson in patience, a moment of resilience, or a small victory over doubt. This practice turns delay from a burden into a gift, from a chain into a key. For instance, you might write, "Today, waiting taught me to breathe deeply when anger arose." Or, "Delay showed me I can be kind without reward." These notes are like stars you collect in a dark sky, forming a constellation to guide your journey. Over time, you'll see that progress is not a straight line, but a spiral, each turn leading you deeper into your truth. Incorporate surrender mantras into your routine. When anxiety arises, repeat, "I trust the unfolding." Say these words with intention, like casting a stone into a lake, creating ripples that calm the restless surface of your mind. Or choose a mantra that resonates, like, "The universe works in silence," or "My waiting is my sanctuary." These mantras are like threads of light woven in the darkness, building a tapestry of trust to support your steps. Speak them aloud, whisper them, or engrave them in your heart, letting them become a melody accompanying your journey. Expanding further, think of your waiting as a sacred ritual, a dance with the shadows that turns time into an ally. Picture yourself as an alchemist in a dark cave, blending patience, trust, and surrender to create spiritual gold. Each practice, meditation, gratitude, mantras, is an ingredient in this process, a drop that transforms the lead of impatience into something precious. Delay is not an obstacle. It is the crucible where your soul is refined. When you feel trapped, recall the lotus using the mud to grow. When you feel forgotten, remember the bamboo, rooting in silence for years before piercing the earth. Each moment of waiting is a chance to practice, to build, to trust that the universe is conspiring in your favor, even when your eyes cannot see. How do you sustain this practice when the world demands haste? I began creating small altars in my life, not physical ones but moments of intention. Each morning I dedicated a few minutes to meditation, even if just closing my eyes and counting 5 breaths. Each night I wrote a sentence of gratitude, even for something simple, like the silence of a sleeping house. When impatience overwhelmed me, I paused and visualized the lotus, its roots deepening in the mud, and asked, "What am I learning now?" These practices, small as seeds, began to take root, turning my waiting into a path of power. I realized delay was not a pause but an active process, a space where the universe shaped me, prepared me, aligned me with something greater. If this message stirs your shadowed soul, pause now and reflect. What practices can you adopt to turn waiting into a ritual? What lessons are the shadows offering today? How can you trust the universe is unfolding? Share your story in the comments, your practices, your shadows, your victories in the journey of patience. Subscribe to the Dark Spirituality channel to continue this journey through the somber truths of the Dharma and spiritual motivation. We will keep unraveling how delay becomes a sacred gift, guided by practices that illuminate the power of stillness, trust, and the invisible rhythm of the universe. Part 8. Conclusion and Call to Action. What if the end of your waiting is only the beginning of an illumination that shines brighter in the shadows, where the silence of delay reveals the true light of your soul? The journey we've walked together, through the shadows of waiting, ancient parables, and dark metaphors, is not just a reflection. It is an invitation. Every moment of doubt, every starless night, every seed planted in the dark soil of patience was more than a test. It was a sacred training, a forge where the universe shaped your soul to carry blessings you cannot yet see. In dark spirituality, delay is not a void to be feared, but a sanctuary to be embraced. It is the space where the ego dissolves like mist at dawn, where impatience transforms into trust, where suffering becomes wisdom. The universe never forgets you. It works in silence like a sculptor in the dark, carving a version of you ready to receive what you've asked for, but only when the moment is perfect, when your roots are deep enough to bear the weight of the light. Picture your waiting as a black river, flowing through a gorge where the stars barely touch the surface. You rode against the current, desperate for answers, for signs, for a glimpse of solid ground. But the delay, which felt like a chain, was a bridge, a passage to a place where trust replaces haste, where surrender replaces control. Each practice you embraced, silent meditation, gratitude for the shadows, mantras whispered in the dark, was a drop in this river, shaping your soul as water shapes stone. The Dharma teaches that nothing is wasted. Every conscious breath, every act of kindness, every moment you chose trust over doubt is a seed that roots, a star that shines in the dark sky of your journey. Your spring is coming, but it will not be rushed. The universe, in its enigmatic wisdom, knows that the most beautiful flowers grow in mud, the strongest trees root in winter, the purest light is born in the deepest shadows. Expanding further, imagine your life as a sacred cave, a hidden temple where silence is the altar and waiting is the prayer. Every moment you spent wrestling with delay was a ritual, an act of devotion to the universe's invisible process. You were not lost. You were being guided step by step, through the darkness, to a place where your inner light could shine without flickering. The lotus, which crossed the mud to bloom, is your living metaphor. Your struggles, doubts, and delays were the mire that nourished your roots, preparing you to unfurl. The universe does not deny your prayers. It refines them, polishing them like precious stones until they are ready to reflect the light always within you. Trusting this process turns waiting into a sacred dance, where every step, even in darkness, is a movement toward illumination. And now, at this journey's threshold, you face a choice: to keep fighting the universe's rhythm or to embrace the stillness, the trust, the mystery of the now. Delay is not the end. It is the beginning of a transformation only the darkness can teach. Every seed you planted, every meditation, every moment of patience, every act of surrender, is growing, even if the sprouts remain unseen. The universe is conspiring in your favor, weaving a tapestry of blessings that will reveal itself when the time is right. Your task is not to hasten the process, but to honor it, To live each moment with the courage of one who knows the path is being carved, even in the fog. Spiritual motivation is born from this certainty. What is yours cannot be lost. It is being prepared, like a flower waiting for the moon to bloom. Expanding further, think of your journey as a midnight sky, vast and infinite, where each star is a lesson learned, each constellation a story you wrote with your patience. Delay is the dark backdrop that makes the stars shine, the silence that gives voice to your deepest truths. When you feel trapped, as if the universe has turned its back, remember, the night is not eternal, but it is necessary. It is the space where stars form, where light gains meaning. Each practice you adopted, conscious breathing, gratitude for shadows, mantras of trust, is a star you lit in this sky. Over time, these stars will form a map, a guide leading you to the place where your blessings await, not as you imagined, but as you needed them to be. How do you carry this lesson forward? Start now, in this moment. Close your eyes for a moment and breathe, feeling the weight of waiting transform into lightness. Ask yourself, what can I release today? What anchor of doubt can I let go? Write a sentence of gratitude for the shadows that shaped you, as a vow of trust in the universe's rhythm. Then share your story. Not just to tell, but to light the way for others. In the comments below, write about your journey. The nights when waiting felt unbearable. The moments when patience revealed a strength you didn't know you had. The blessings that arrived disguised as delay. Your story is a lantern in the darkness, a reminder that no one walks alone. Join the Dark Spirituality community, where we dive together into the depths of spiritual motivation and the Dharma's somber truths. Subscribe to the channel to stay with us for the next chapters of this journey, where we will continue exploring how shadows become teachers and delay transforms into light. Give a like if this message touched your soul, as every gesture of support helps spread this truth. For those who wish to go deeper, our Patreon offers exclusive access to guided meditations, ebooks with practices for the dark path, and live sessions where we share stories and lessons. Visit the link in the description to join us. And if you feel called, consider supporting the channel with a donation. Each contribution is a flame that lights the shadows, allowing more people to find this path. Expanding further, picture yourself as a traveler in a dark forest, holding a lantern whose light reveals only the next step. Delay is the fog that cloaks the path, but also the invitation to trust what cannot be seen. Each practice, each moment of surrender, is a step on this trail, an act of faith in the universe's mystery. You are not lost. You are being guided, shaped, prepared for a destiny greater than your boldest dreams. The lotus, the bamboo, the raven, the river, all these metaphors reflect your journey, reminders that waiting is sacred, that silence is a teacher, that darkness is the womb where light is born. Your transformation is not in the future. It is happening now, in this moment, as you breathe, as you trust, as you walk. If this message stirs your shadowed soul, pause now and reflect. What story of patience can you share? What delay revealed a disguised blessing? How can you turn your waiting into an act of devotion? Write in the comments your struggles, your shadows, your victories in the dance with time. Subscribe to the Dark Spirituality channel to continue this journey through the somber truths of the Dharma and spiritual motivation. Your transformation begins now, in the shadows, where the truest light is always born. Namaste in the darkness.